Hello and welcome to Defense India podcast. And before we start this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Defense India podcast, the podcast where we discuss matters related to India's internal security. And joining me on the podcast, as always, is Vicky Nanjappa. Vicky, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Akash.
So, Vicky, interesting things are happening in Canada, to be very honest. I think people may say that, why are you calling it interesting? Because of the fact that what is happening over there is is quite interesting, as the fact that the relation between India and Canada are already very bad, and now this has happened. So apparently some of these Khalistani Sikhs, they stormed into a temple. They had an altercation with the devotees over there, and to add uh, you know uh, salt to the wound is that the Canadian police who was present over there also assaulted the devotees, the Hindu devotees, rather than taking action against the Khalistani. Apparently there was this some police officer who was off duty, and he was holding a Khalistani flag. He was taking part in that demonstration, not a demonstration but an assault, and he was also suspended. So the things are turning out to be very amazing for people in Brampton, to be very honest.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Akash, what you said is right. Things are getting very chaotic out there. So, and it looks like these Khalistan elements are been having a free run there. I mean, they have been having a free run for quite some time now. It's not only now, even when Trudeau's father was there when the Air India bombing happened.
Right.
Instead of acting against those people who were there operating on the soil, they decided to feign ignorance out there. So it's been going on for so long, but now it's getting worse because there is this desperation that has been building up. On the previous podcast also we have discussed on how desperate they are, to set shop in India, which has not exactly happened to their liking. And when an approval comes from none other than the person holding the top office, that's Justin Trudeau, I think it's kind of a validation for whatever they've been doing. This is not this is not just an isolated case in which a temple has been attacked. Hindu temples have come under attack, have been vandalized many times in the past. That referendum, for Khalistan, being held in the open, and Canada saying it amounts to freedom of speech, so they wouldn't want to do anything with it. So it kind of gives them a validation, to just go on the free run. And so many requests and so much of evidence being shared by India on people like Hardeep Singh Nijjar and a lot of other gangster elements also who are working in tandem with these pro Khalistan separatists or terrorists, how you may like to call them. The thing is, and absolutely no action on that front from the government. No extradition requests have been honored. I mean, forget an extradition request. Something as simple as a filing of a case. Everything is like yeah, we are looking into it, we are doing something, but actually there's been no action on the ground. And when you have a government which is so complicit, as we may say, and so pro them because of those. Because of those, towards those elements out there, then I'm sure the things can only get worse now. Akash, the thing is, there is a sustained campaign, to instill a sense of fear within the Hindus who are living out there, and they made it the Khalistan versus Hindus, and open threats of get back to India, and all these things are happening. So tensions between the countries, between the two countries, is one part about it, but the living conditions of the Indians there who do not back these elements, they constantly live in a state of fear every day. Akash. So that is also a very big problem.
Exactly, Vicky. But as far as the whole situation is concerned, like India has also reacted very strongly to it. Even Prime Minister Narendra Modi, sent out a tweet, saying that the Canadian government should take care of the law and order situation over there. But apart from that, when it comes to action being taken by Justin Trudeau, we have seen that his government has been very, very lenient towards these Khalistani elements, and rather than that, they are, time and again have been blaming India for the alleged assassination of Niger and other Khalistani leaders on its soil. Apart from that, apart from just the diplomatic row, what other action India should take against Canada? Should it approach the United Nations? What other things can happen from India?
Yeah, see, one is, this downgrading of ties by, recalling the ambassador, that is one thing. That itself is a big deal because, there are only three other countries with which India has done that. That is, one is Fiji, one is Canada, I'm sorry, one is China, and the other one is Pakistan. So, they have joined that list, of, a country that is, very, very, what do you call that, insensitive towards India's, problems. So that is one part of it. I think currently the focus will more, shift. See, trade ties, Akash, I think on that front, there's not much happening because a lot of this trade happens on this, this private sector levels. That is one. But post September, there were supposed to be talks, these free trade agreement talks with Canada. Now that has been put off. Okay. On the trade front, I don't think India will worry too much about it because it just accounts to 1% of India's total trade with the rest of the world. That is one. So that is not something which would come up for a debate or anything of that sort. Downgrading of diplomatic ties, yes, that has been a big message that India has sent out there, and then putting our diplomats out there on surveillance. Now that is a really nasty thing on their part to do, and that will be that it goes against the Vienna Convention and it will be taken up in the United Nations. That is for sure. So I think, and they now the thing idea would be to build a very watertight case around all these elements. Have all the pending charge sheets filed before the court, and then the ED would come into the picture because for these Khalistani elements to operate in Canada, there must be some sort of funding which is coming in, and it is going unnoticed or deliberately unnoticed because it seems to be landing pretty easily in the banks. So that is one thing. So ED would look into these money laundering charges and the funding and all that. How we did in the case of Pakistan. How Lashkar got funds and we actually managed to build up a very watertight case, which eventually led to Pakistan being on the grey list for nearly 4 years. I mean, they barely dodged the blacklist. So I think going forward, these would be India's strategy. I mean, a lot of people have, in fact, asked will there be a war. I don't think war is logistically feasible for India at the moment there because it can trigger off a larger, a problem of a larger proportion at the end of it.
Right.
So I think on United Nations Security Council, Financial Action Task Force, completing all the investigations here, building a watertight case. But before doing all this, I think India would be presenting a very, very solid dossier to Canada and give them basically a time frame to act upon all the charges that India has made against these elements enjoying protection on Canadian soil. And if Canada does not act within the stipulated time, I think it is going to go really international, and India is going to start involving all its friendly nations in the United Nations and across the world and try and build up more and more pressure on Canada.
Right, Vicky. But if we talk about that is the diplomatic way over there. But when it comes to the general public, when they see these kind of videos being shared online, and of course there are a lot of Hindus who have relatives over here in India, and a lot of Sikhs also, who have relatives over there in Canada. When these kind of clashes happen over there and they see these kind of visuals, it creates a lot of sense of insecurity for the society over here in India also, apart from what is happening in Canada. So uh, what do you think that, when it comes to the internal security of the country, these kind of things that are happening, thousands of kilometers away from India, might have some kind of a repercussion? Because till now we haven't heard or seen any kind of that kind of a brawl or any kind of an untoward incident happening, at least here in India till now, thankfully. But you never know that, all you need is a spark to light up this bomb.
Yeah, very true. See, that also, one is to keep all the. See, Akash, before we get into this, I just want to make one thing very clear. I think there are around approximately around 80,000 Sikhs who are in Canada, and it is just 1% of them who support this dreaded movement called as the Khalistan movement. So, I mean, the problem is because of this issue, there's a grave danger that every Sikh in Canada may be branded as a pro-Khalistani element. Okay, so that we should keep that in mind. That not all those Sikhs are completely backing this movement. It's just about 1% of it. And coming to your question, Akash, the thing is that will be the larger strategy out there, because if you go on, vandalizing Hindu temples out there, if you go on, threatening the Hindus who are living there, and you indulge or you incite violence against them and things like that, it can have a repercussion back home here in India, because and if that happens and that starts happening, if there is a Hindu retaliation against the Sikhs which happen, or if some people who feel strongly about the movement feel that we also should indulge in such kind of violence, then it is going to get pretty chaotic. And let's hope that our people living here don't fall into that trap, because that is exactly what they are trying to do. Is that day after day, day after day, if you go on vandalizing temples, you write rubbish on these walls, graffiti and all those things. What if a certain part of the Hindu population decides to explode back in India and try to seek revenge against some people who they perceive as pro Khalistanis out here? Then all hell will break loose. Then it becomes a never-ending kind of situation, and our people out here should not fall into that trap, because that is exactly the trap they want us to fall in.
Exactly, Vicky. That is the kind of trap they're falling. They're trying to, dig for the people over there. But another big thing about Justin Trudeau is also that, not everybody is very much happy with the kind of politics that he's playing. So I was going through this article, and a former Canadian Sikh MP, has actually lambasted on Justin Trudeau, calling him, he wrote in one of the publications over there, and he called him an idiot. He said that Justin Trudeau is a political and a sociological idiot. He doesn't understand that, he's just fanning something that he cannot control. And I think to some extent now things have actually gone out of Justin Trudeau's hand, with the kind of violence that they are witnessing. And although they have given it a free hand, but they do need to realize that maybe someday it's only Brampton that is going to turn into Khalistan.
Very true. First of all, Justin Trudeau should thank his stars that he was called only an idiot, Akash, because I think there are many other experiences that he would deserve. But he should be very lucky about that. But then, that's true. See, it's gone beyond his control. He played it for city politics. And the very fact is that his ratings are terrible out there now at the moment. It's very, very bad. If they call for an election, there is no hope that he's going to win. It's like, you're trying to, as I said, it's 1% of the population who believes in this movement, and he's misread the entire situation. And those Sikhs who are living there peacefully are definitely not going to, endorse what he's doing, because, who wants confusion every day out there? You just want, first of all, you've left your country, you've gone so far, spending your money, and, you want to, live and work in peace and, do well in life. And then you have these, skirmishes and this violence which keeps happening every single day. It becomes a nuisance for them. And in doing so, in playing his silly politics out there, try to, just please a bunch of people so that, he holds on to a vote bank which he thinks, will be the deciding factor for him. He has completely misread the situation like that. He has, he has no respect left across many parts of the world who think that, it's very, very clear. I mean, these are the people who were once involved in a bombing of the Kanishka bombing, which I mean, which was
Right.
so brutal. And it looks very openly that he's supporting. He's just, carrying forward his father's legacy of, supporting these people, because we've had these problems with them since the 80s, actually. And very true, as you say, Brampton could be the next Khalistan state out there, the way things are going. And, now with the police also joining the party, beating up people who have, been attacked, then I think it's, total chaos and lawlessness. And if these people again seem to get away with it, they are going to do it again. And from Brampton, it's going to spread across. Gradually, it will spread across. But today, that is their happy hunting ground. But it will start spreading across. So he has, created nothing but a ruckus for his own countrymen out there, and also think of the original residents of Canada. I mean, why
Right.
are they willing to face this at the end of it? They have nothing to do with this movement or anything of that sort. It is a diaspora which has come, from outside their countries, settling there and creating all the ruckus. So I mean, imagine, Akash, you're in a neighborhood and then you see, a bunch of Nigerians or a bunch of Americans or Russians or, Chinese just creating ruckus. And for their own, selfish cause, which is, for some issue which is happening back in their country.
Right.
You're obviously going to wonder, right? Why are they doing this in my country, and why is my government being so soft on it?
Correct.
So that's where Trudeau has lost his game.
Exactly, Vicky, because I think a lot of Canadians have online also shared their dismay about what is happening in Canada, because they feel that this is not their fight, to be very honest. It has nothing to do with them. The cause has nothing to do with them. And the people who are, doing this has nothing to do with them. So it creates a lot of problem for Justin Trudeau, not just politically also, but also socially, in terms of he has lost the support of his own people out there in Canada. And hopefully, we can only hope that better minds level up, and Justin Trudeau understands that supporting Khalistan will not get him the kind of vote that he is thinking that he might get in the upcoming elections in Canada. But yes, all eyes will definitely be on the US, where people are, going to vote for the president, and of course, Canada would also be looking at it, and we have to see if Donald Trump comes up as the winner in this presidential elections. How will he help India, or will not help India in tackling this kind of a situation that is happening in India? Because I don't think so. The Indian government has any hope from Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's also true. That's going to be a very, very crucial election. And trust me, for India, I think Donald Trump is the better deal. We at least had a voice that was, listening to us in the United States, instead of, these pseudo liberals, sitting and lecturing us on human rights when their record has been pretty bad. And Donald Trump actually means business, whether it comes to American issues or when it comes to world issues. He'll put an end to this. He's going to call a spade at the end of it. And I think a lot of these kind of issues, these irritants like, Canada and things like that, those issues would be sorted out if we have a Trump presidency out there. And let's hope, that presidency does happen, at least in our interest. And we all know that he is the only president probably who has not started a war in the world.
Exactly, that's very true. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Mickey, for joining me, and thank you to all of viewers for watching.
Thanks, Akash. Thank you.